Hello everyone! Today, in the second episode of Whispered or Soft Spoken Stories, I have for you 3 experiences told by fellow Redditors on the Paranormal subreddit. I have asked for their permission and they have agreed to have their stories featured on my channel. So big thanks to all 3. If you get scared easily or if you're afraid of the dark, please do not listen to these before bedtime because this video will then become the opposite of ASMR. Don't say I haven't warned you. And without further ado, let's begin. The first experience. A couple of years ago, when I was a senior in high school, I was laying in my bed with my dog. I had the lights off, but had the door cracked open since I was afraid of the dark. As I scrolled through my phone, I rolled over to face the wall. As I rolled over, a water bottle cap I forgot to toss out dug into my ribs, and me being lazy, just tossed it onto the floor. A few seconds went by, and suddenly I felt something hit me. Of course, I jumped a little because I was startled. I looked down and saw that what had hit me was the bottle cap I had tossed about 5-10 seconds prior. It is at this moment that my typically calm dog gets up and starts barking at the corner of my room where I believe the bottle cap may have come from. I never even looked at what it could have been because I was too afraid and ended up just running to my living room where my grandfather had been. Strangely enough, a lot of my family members have had weird experiences in that house, and a lot of them have been in my bedroom. Could you imagine casually chilling in your room and you want to be more comfortable in your bed, so you throw a water bottle cap on the floor and the house ghost is like, oh no you didn't. Oh dear. Second experience. The first pet I have ever had as a baby was a black and white tomcat named Clover. He was in my family before I was born, and I had him with me as we moved out of my childhood home into my new home 15 years ago. A few years after we moved in, Clover got old and my dad took him to the vet to be put down. As a young kid who loves animals, I was of course heartbroken and cried for weeks. But something happened that made me stop crying. I was walking into my bedroom. My bed was perfectly made, with all my pillows and my quilt and stuffed animals. And sitting curled up perfectly in the center of my bed was Clover. I remember lying down with him and just looking at him, although I don't know if I reached out to pet him or not. As kids, we don't quite have developed a good common sense of reality and the laws of physics and all that, so I didn't find anything particularly strange about seeing my dead cat. I knew what death was, I knew what it meant, and yet my adolescent mind just took things as they came, and I just lay there with my cat until I fell asleep. When I woke up, he was gone, and I felt a strange sense of closure, like I got to show him I cared about him. I miss him, almost 20 years later still, and I wanted to get my story out there. This is probably the 5th time I've read this story, and I still have tears in my eyes. I think I need a moment. Okay, I am back with the third experience. This post on Reddit had the title, Two Incidents That Made Me a Believer. I am a 22-year-old rationalist with a physics degree. My 34-year-old sister and 59-year-old father have seen and experienced things that I cannot explain. Given the nature of the incident, I don't have a choice but to believe paranormal things exist. My father was in his 30s and was going to a religious event at around 9 p.m. He saw a man walking ahead of him and thought maybe he is going to the same event. My father asked him, "Hey, are you going to that event too? Wait for me, let's walk together." That man turned into a calf in front of my father's eyes. Before my father could make sense of it, he heard sounds of branches cracking down. He looked to his left and saw a 40-feet man in traditional attire walking over the bushes. My father started chanting a religious mantra or verse and noped out of there. He was then sick for a week. He is a serious man with no history of mental illness. When my sister was around 28, she, her daughter, and her husband temporarily moved into a rented house while they looked for a permanent one. There, my sister used to hear noises as if she was in the middle of a market. She would often feel the urge to go to a particular room and hang herself. She's a bubbly lady with a happy family. This was so out of character for her. However, they didn't move out until something more sinister happened. She got sleep paralysis and felt as if a shadowy entity bit her in the face. She started flailing in her sleep, and her husband comforted her, and she slept nicely after. The scary part? She woke up with black, bite-like marks on her both cheeks. I can't explain that. Well, that's something. Yeah, I have no words. Why do I feel like I should have told the story about Clover the cat last, so I wouldn't leave you guys with scars? Sorry. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye.